morning, sunshine. Welcome to Morning Inspiration with Friends with our host, Miss Inspiration. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe as you sit back and listen.
Good morning. My bad. Good morning, everybody. Hope you are having an amazing morning. I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. We are here with another message. We're not here with another message. So, I'm trying to share the live. For whatever reason, Facebook did not get the live. So I'm trying to share it on Facebook, but everything is like making noise on Facebook Live right now. YouTube. Yeah, I don't know why it's not sharing. But we're going to get this message out because I feel like this is a good message. This is one of those messages that a lot of people have probably heard. And we hear this a lot in reference to like Jesus, Abraham in the Bible, where God gave instructions, right, on where to go, right? And so this morning, I heard a story about Ja Rule making millions performing in other places that truly appreciated him. And one of those places was the continent of Africa. Several countries over there would pay him. I think they said that he would sometimes go 5 to 10 times a year and make millions. And it made me realize that many of us spend so much time focusing on where we are and we're being overlooked instead of receiving the attention, receiving attention of our value, of the respect of the gifts that we have. We don't normally get that where we are. And so many people are afraid to start exploring these other charter waters because they don't know, they're not familiar with that. And so it made me think like we got to get into a point where we realize that familiar can sometimes hide our value, right? AKA staying in your comfort zone is going to hide your value. When you are staying in the familiar places, the people closest to you are usually the last ones to see your actual gift. Right? They're usually the last ones. They're not going to always appreciate it. They're going to see someone doing the same exact thing as you and give them more praise, despite you probably been doing it before them. You probably do it 10 times better. It probably comes to you naturally, organically. But because they are so close to you, they can't see that gift. Okay. And so sometimes this is going to come in the form of, your cousins, your family, your friends, your co-workers, your neighbors, the people in your city, just people knowing that you're from that space. They might not be able to see that. So when I heard him talk about how going over to the different countries in Africa and they saw his value, like wanted him to come out there, perform shows, even to this day. Right? This is a reality that he still has in 2026. Meanwhile, if we post a video right now of Ja Rule performing somewhere in the United States, despite the fact that people will be there, despite that it might be sold out, because when I saw him in Ashanti and Tulsa in 2023, it was a sold out show. No seats were available. And I always tell people, because I'll see the comments like, oh, he's washed up, he's still singing the same songs. We got to be very thankful that these people still have the ability to still perform. Like, that's not even part of the conversation, but we got to appreciate that. And I've never seen anyone go to the Temptations and tell Otis to stop singing the Temptation songs to get some new materials. No. Otis gets new members and they all learn them same routines from when they had the Temptations back in the day. But we don't want the current environment. But yeah, so our familiar doesn't see our value, our comfort zone. So you got to start going out and saying, well, if my comfort zone, if my family, my friends, if they don't see my value, then let me go find the people that do. And then, you got to get to a point where you got to get out this argument of trying to convince everyone that you are valuable, right? Everyone is not your audience. And I think this is something that I see on social media with content creators, with small businesses, with artists. You have to know who your audience is. And once you realize that, everyone else doesn't matter. Can they get value from you while not being your audience? Absolutely. But your focus is not to cater to them. Your focus is not to take away from the people that you already know. They're gun ho, they're riding with you. You don't lose focus on them to try to get to the people who are not paying you any mind anyway. So when we are looking at this, we really got to apply this to every aspect of our lives. Look at how you are trying to convince people of who you are. And this could be in relationships. This could be as a life coach or a motivational speaker, any kind of business. You just need the right people. And when you get the right people, the right impact is going to happen. And then sometimes that impact equates to a check. And so when I listened to that story, and it was about 3 o'clock this morning, it really hit me. And I was just like, that's what a lot of us have to do. And I talk about this a lot. Like even right now, God has me speaking about my book. God has me rereading my book, Dear Single in Love. And the one thing that's in that book is, I think it's chapter 7, land the familiar. Like it's time to leave the land of familiar. And in that respects, it's like this. You can't convince the people in your hometown that you are a good woman, a good man. The person for you might not be there. So you might need to start looking at new environments. So you're trying to convince all these people, look at me, I'm great, I'm amazing, I'm amazing, I'm amazing. And you should work with me. You should do this. You should buy this. You should look at my content. And the people who are there like, yeah, we don't want to see you. So now focus on the people that do. Get into the Ja Rule mindset. Find where they respect you, they love you, they see your value, they appreciate your impact, and they're willing to exchange it for money, right? And in his case, he's benefiting. So many people have heard, and I've heard conversations because I used to work in the music industry. And I always say to a lot of people, even executives, they feel as though, well, the label doesn't like you. And then once everybody stopped going to record labels and started doing things more independent, well, look at your streams, it's terrible. Nobody in America likes you. We have a whole world. God did not say that you only have to do what he calls you to do in one place. He said, I made a whole globe for you. You got other places that you can go, other places that will pay you, that will see your value. And that's something that a lot of people does not understand. They don't understand it because your environment matters. A gift can be overlooked in one place and celebrated in another. And I remember years, about maybe like 15 years ago, I read an article and a man said that God gave him this business idea. He said, and I mean, on paper, it's a great business idea. He said, so what did he do? He started working on his business. He goes and he gets the LLC. I think it was the storefront. He rents the storefront. This is a great idea. And he does everything he needs to do. He gets marketing, all other things, and he opens up the business and the business fails. And so he said, someone said to him, this might not be the place for you, the location, because the location was nowhere on a popular street. It was on a side street, not too far from the popular street. And at this time, social media was still fairly new. So we really was not like tapping into the Instagrams. There was no TikTok at the time. It was called something else at that time. But eventually his wife said, you know what? Maybe we just need to shut down the business and maybe we need to move. And he said when he moved, God gave him that business idea again. The business just never died. The desire never died. And he finally did everything again, got the motivation, got the courage, did everything again in this new environment, and everything worked out. Success, success, success. Sometimes that is how it works. Sometimes you have to go to the other place. Right? You have to go to the other place. It cannot always happen here. So your environment does matter. So when people say, oh, it doesn't matter what your environment is, unless you have an online business, because even then you could be paying for ads and only targeting America, only targeting the United States, or you might be only targeting your city, forgetting that we have 50 states, then we have the whole of North America, and then we have all these other continents that you can tap into. So when I think about that, I think about, I wanted to buy a house, right? I said, I want to buy a physical house. I did not want to do the apartment living anymore. Although I own my apartment, I said, I don't want to do this for much longer, God. Did not see a way in New York. I don't have New York money. And even if I did, I still wouldn't want to buy a house where my mortgage is going to be $4,000 or $5,000 and my land is about $2,000. That's not what I desire. So it wasn't until Tulsa Remote came, and then when Tulsa Remote came a reality, coming to Tulsa and looking at the prices, and I was like, wow, this is actually possible here. So it wasn't possible in New York, but it made it possible. All I had to do, the goal was still buy a house. But I got away from, I had to buy a house in New York City. I got away from, I had to buy a house in New York State. And I got away from that. And I said, God, I want to buy a house. And God said, as long as you're willing to do what I tell you to do and how to do it, you will have a house. And what did I end up getting? Sometimes it's your environment. Your environment is causing you to not have the results that you desire because you're so fixated on this one location. It has to be here. I have to do it here. I can't go nowhere else. This is all that I know. But if you're saying that you trust God, you should be able to say, God, I don't know this place, but I trust you. And I know that you're going to take me and I'm going to be okay. So I want us to get into that part. And then the last thing I want us to think about is that it's not about ego, because I saw someone did right in the comments like, oh, so what, Ja thinks he's better than people because other countries want him? And I'm like, I'm always amazed at how people create narratives based off of a story that has been shared. But I want us to realize just going where you are honored doesn't mean that you are chasing an applause. What tends to typically happen, and we see this a lot, and I see this a lot, I've seen this a lot in the music business. Someone won't get the recognition that they want. And then they'll just give up. They'll be like, you know what, it's not meant for me. I'm never gonna be able to make it. They didn't push my album, right? Like we hear a lot of artists who have been tabled. They were shelved. No one ever heard their music. They had a deal, but they never got the opportunity. And so instead of them either looking for a new label, they just say, forget it. And then they go get a job somewhere else and they forget all about that dream. Although this is what God is telling them that they're supposed to do. And so when I started to see people going to different places, because even Stephon Marbury from the New York Knicks, shout out to New York Knicks. See, I'm an orange one today. But even Marbury went to China. When everything started, like the Knicks, he left the Knicks and he just wasn't getting the recognition. And Marbury is a really good player. And his personality has gotten a lot better over the years. And he wasn't getting the recognition. He wasn't getting any jobs out here in the States. And Marbury went to China. He wasn't chasing the applause, but you know what? There was something out there. And I think one time I saw he got a statue out there. Like they really love him over there. And I was still happy to see that he was, I think he was at game 4, I think 3 or 4. And he was like on the sidelines with the microphones talking. And I thought that was dope because sometimes it takes you leaving for home to realize who you are. See, sometimes you got to go and you got to go somewhere else. I'm just looking as if it's like someone's just looking and they're like, Dad, wait, is that so-and-so? So-and-so from up the block, and they're over there, and they getting all the recognition, they getting all this love, they got a statue. Yes, they're going to want you to come back. Yes, they're going to want to now be in your face. Now they're going to want to sweat you because now other people have acknowledged you. And that sometimes happens a lot. But at the end of the day, you just got to realize, one, we have a whole globe God gave us access to. If you have a passport, you have the ability to go and explore that. You are not limited to just one place. Do not think that you have to stay in this one location. And if you try it and it doesn't be successful, or you're not getting the traction that you desire, that's it. It's just never going to happen. No, it's time to start looking at other places. It's time to start pushing yourself out there. If you are a business owner and you're doing online business and you're noticing that the United States is not getting the results that you want, why not extend it to Europe? Why not extend it? Why not translate some of your products so that you can hit other markets and hit other audiences. It's sometimes that simple. But we have to realize, go where you are valued, go where you are loved and appreciated. It's not going to always be the people that you know. And that's okay. You could just pray for them and be thankful that they're a part of your journey in some way or another and just move forward. Take that lesson from Ja Rule. That's what he's doing. He's truly in that space of like, I'm just going to go where they love me. And where they love him is where they pay him. Okay? So I'm going to stop here. I'll be back here on Monday. This is a weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there. I don't know where you are, where you guys are at. I know in the Midwest, we're supposed to have a bunch of rain out here. Shout out to all the graduates. My niece is going to prom today. Everyone keep her in your prayers. But I hope you guys having an awesome day. Share this video. Share this message with somebody. Someone out there needs this, because someone out there is very limited and they're thinking about their business, about their services, about their opportunities, about love. Go where you are appreciated. Go where you are honored, not just where you are, where you know and where you're familiar. I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration.
Wow, Tanisha, that was a powerful message. I hope everyone was blessed by today's message. Listen, if you are not tuned in, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Meet us for morning inspiration with friends every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m.-ish CT time. See you next time, friend.